everyone. I'm Charlie Gaines of Capital Athletics. Welcome into the Capital Men's Basketball Podcast here on athletics.capital.edu. And joining me now, the head coach of the Capital Men's Basketball Program, Andy Winters. Well, Coach, last 2 weeks kind of been down, but recently up. Losses to Marietta and John Carroll, wins at Muskingum, and a big win against Otterbein, the big rival around these parts. Describe for me how these last 2 weeks have been for the ball club.
I think the biggest thing for our guys is we've continued to get better and playing with our two seniors, knowing that the season's going to come, to an end eventually. A lot of the guys are kind of enjoying and living in the moment, and that's what's, been fun with these practices, enjoying every drill and enjoying, every minute that we're working, so.
83-78 win over Muskingum last Wednesday. Austin Schreck had a big game, 19 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds. You and I have been talking about how it's not only been him, but it's been other young guys that have been stepping off, not only in the starting lineup, but also off the bench as well, laying a really solid foundation for this basketball program for years to come.
Right, yeah. That was our whole goal, is to bring in a large freshman class and guys that can contribute right away and compete and kind of change that culture of the past 2 years. And the freshmen have really bought into it. And Shrek, one of our freshman leaders, is he's a talented kid. He's tough. He does every little thing right. All the upperclassmen love him. He just keeps his mouth shut and works hard, and then everybody else follows his lead. And like you said, guys off the bench that have stuck in there as freshmen and taken advantage when their number's called, and we're looking forward to the next couple of years with these guys.
Speaking of young guys, something that I saw in the win over Otterbein last Saturday, you had 5 freshmen at one time out there on the floor. I think that really speaks to me about how much confidence you have in the young guys who are not freshmen anymore.
Yeah, they actually move the ball great together. They're a very unselfish group. They set good screens. They do everything that you ask of them. We've told them before that they're no longer freshmen, and they've bought into that, having experience. How many freshmen in our league get to play this amount of minutes early, as freshmen? So they've bought into that. They've grown. They've learned. They've watched film. They've experienced everything, and they're doing a great job.
Focusing more on that Otterbein game, it was a happy senior day. Michael Green had 12 points in that game. Mark Minch had 23. They brought a large contingent of family members there. Really special day for the seniors.
Yeah, Mike and Mark have meant a lot to us this year, and to kind of give back to them as seniors and get a win, and everybody having a great time, and them playing well also in front of their families. Fun to do.
Well, and also the win over the rival. It's always good to beat Otterbein, correct?
Absolutely.
So you got 2 games remaining in the regular season. I want to focus on Wednesday night's game. You have a home game against Heidelberg. The Berg beat you earlier this year, 73-70. What can you take from that game early on in the season that can help you in this second matchup?
A lot of what they do is fast-paced, up-tempo, and our guys didn't do a great job of handling their pressure. And so, I think that playing a couple more games since then and kind of finding each person's identity and role on the court will help us just from a mentality standpoint. But Heidelberg's a good team. They just knocked off a very good Mount Union team at home last game. So, we're looking forward to the challenge.
And then Baldwin Wallace on Saturday. That game very well could decide who gets the 4th seed in the OAC Men's Basketball Tournament. You beat the Yellow Jackets earlier this year. What will it take to come out with win number 2 against the Yellow Jackets?
Obviously, none of this happens if we don't take care of business on Wednesday. So, BW is a great team. They have a very good sophomore, Cameron Kuhn. And they're doing, they beat the undefeated John Carroll prior to Marietta. So they have it rolling. Everyone's trying to play their best basketball at the end of the season. So, we just got to take each day and practice at a time.
Before we let you go, Coach, we have the random question of the week. Valentine's Day has come and gone. I want to get your perspective on this holiday that a lot of people like to celebrate. What must you do on Valentine's Day in order for it to be successful?
Wake up and I think the biggest thing for me is to text everybody that's close to me and tell them I appreciate all that they've done, because I wouldn't be where I am without them. So.
In other words, covering all your bases. I like that strategy.
Exactly.
Smart coach right here. Thanks, Coach.
Yep, thank you.
Andy Winters joined us here on the Capital Men's Basketball Podcast. Coming up, we'll be talking with freshman guard Joey Weingartner. So stay tuned for part 2 of the Capital Men's Basketball Podcast here on athletics.capital.edu. For Cap Athletics, I'm Charlie Danis. We'll see you next time. Hello, everyone. I'm Charlie Danis of Capital Athletics. Welcome into part 2 of the Capital Men's Basketball Podcast. Joining me now is the freshman guard, Joey Weingartner. Joey, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So, Joey, let's go way back in the time machine. Why basketball?
Well, I played a lot of sports growing up, and I played soccer, football, basketball, baseball growing up, which is pretty common in young athletes. Then really in high school, it kind of hit me. You're like, man, this is a fun game. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the atmosphere, and like I've been playing it for so long just because my parents got me into it and let me try it out. And it's kind of felt like first love at sight, I guess you could say. And then from there on, I kind of just followed and leaned towards basketball. I love watching it. I love everything about it, the competition and everything that goes into it, the team aspect and building relationships and everything like that.
When you were growing up, did you have a favorite team or a player that you looked up to?
Man, I'd say, in between kind of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, I'm more of an old-style NBA guy. I just like the toughness they had and the competitiveness they kind of strived to go forward. So Kobe Bryant was like just a hard-working guy that would not get outworked or outplayed or anything like that. So I kind of leaned towards him.
This is the last year that Kobe Bryant will be playing professionally. He's had a great career to this point. If you had to sum up Kobe Bryant, how would you do it?
I just say he's a winner. He just loves to win. He goes. I would like to say that he would score 0 points a game as long as his team won. He'd be okay with that, and just chasing greatness. Greatness would probably be another thing I would say about Kobe Bryant.
You grew up in the Dayton area, Centerville to be more specific. So you got to play for the Elks there for a while. Do you have any favorite prep memories from your high school days?
I'd say just my senior year was probably the biggest thing. We had a group of 8 seniors that were really together, best friends. We were a group of guys that didn't have any big-name basketball players on the team, and we ended up making it far, actually defeating Wayne Warriors, who actually won the state, and we were one of the only teams in the area to beat them. So I would say just the togetherness and the connections I made and the values I learned throughout my high school career were the biggest things for me.
We're talking with Joey Weingartner here on the Capital Men's Basketball Podcast. You took a very interesting route getting to Capital. At first, you were at Mount Vernon Nazarene. You were there for a little bit, but then you decide to go to Capital. So NAIA over to the Division III level. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about that process. How did you ultimately end up here?
Well, I had multiple kind of offers and different decisions at different levels to go to when I was making my decision. Mount Vernon seemed to be the smarter choice money-wise for me to go to, so I kind of chose that. And when I got there, I kind of realized that maybe the money is not such an important thing, and me being happy and enjoying my experience at college would be more important. And there I just didn't fit in. I found that out really quickly, and kind of being there and talking to certain people around there. And so Capital was actually one of the schools that recruited me before, and I have two of my high school coaches actually went to Capital, so they had a lot of input on it, and they kind of told me about it, but they didn't really push me one way. They just kind of told me, like, these are the things we did, and these are things around there. And so I got family up here, and then I came back and took another visit before I kind of chose, and I walked around, talked to Coach Goodwin, and I ultimately just kind of decided that this was a good place for me, and so far I think I made the correct choice.
How crucial was Coach Winters in bringing you here to Capital?
He was really crucial. Just hearing stories about him as a player and him as a coach kind of reminded me of what I try to aspire to be as a player, just a tough kid that wants to outwork everybody and that wants to win and wants to compete day in and day out. That is kind of, I tend to gravitate towards those type of people, and I kind of got that vibe from Winters.
Was there an adjustment period when you first came here to Capital?
Oh yeah, I'm still in the process of adjusting. Obviously, transferring, I'm behind a little bit, maybe on class hours and stuff like that. But, you know, getting to know people. I obviously still don't know very many people outside the basketball world just because I'm busy with basketball, so I'm not that sociable right now because I'm focusing on this, especially going into the tournament. But it's been easier than I thought it would be, actually, just because of the guys on the team were there to help me throughout the way, and the coaches, and everybody was extremely helpful, and my family had my back the whole time.
This team has been really interesting in that you got the two guys in Michael Green and Mark Minch who are the unquestioned senior leaders, but then I see young players like you, like Austin Schreck, like Will Hanna, like Gavin Wildermuth, like Caleb Cox, just to name a few, who I think can really set a solid foundation here at Capital. Talk about the present and the future of this program going forward.
I mean, currently it's no question that we are a very young team, and I think Winters has a lot of confidence in us. There's a reason they brought us all in together. Us freshmen have talked about it, how we really needed to be there because, I mean, we have 4 years together, and this year is very important to kind of set the tone for what we want to do in the future. Obviously, being young is that there's a lot of promise with a lot of young guys, and so, I mean, we just keep working to try to get better and better every day and mature and become the best that we can possibly be together.
You got a big week coming up. Home game against Heidelberg, and then you go on the road at Baldwin Wallace, a game that will probably decide who gets the 4 seed in the OAC men's basketball tournament. How are you approaching this week?
Just one day at a time. Obviously, these games are very important. Both these teams are playing extremely well right now, beating some very good teams. So, I mean, for me, it's always just been about the process, and we're just kind of taking a day in and day out, preparing each little thing at each specific time, and we're going to take on Heidelberg, and then we'll focus on BW, and then we'll move on into the tournament.
All right, we've been talking a lot about basketball. I want to get to know you as a student athlete now. What's your major?
I'm a financial economics major.
And what are you wanting to do with that?
I'm not too sure yet.
Still got a little bit of time, with 3 years left in college.
Yes, I enjoy the stock market a lot, though. I kind of like the idea of kind of trading and seeing trends and competing for customers.
So
and
Joey
stuff like that.
Weingartner on Wall Street, perhaps?
Maybe. I mean, that could possibly be a dream, or I don't know, maybe running a business or something one day. I'm not quite sure yet. Got some time.
Before we let you go, we always have a random question. We could always ask a theme. Valentine's Day has come and gone.
Valentine's Day.
What do you have to have in order for it to be a successful Valentine's Day from your perspective?
From my perspective, you got to have somebody that's willing to get your back, and you have to be willing to get somebody else's back. I mean, for me, I have a girlfriend, so you can focus on the lovey-dovey stuff, but when it's all said and done, I've got her back and she's got mine.
Okay, that's pretty fair. Flowers or chocolates, by the way?
I'm a flowers guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a flowers guy.
1-800-flowers.com, or did you just go to a local flower shop here?
You know, I got some connections to some specific people that can distribute flowers. Yeah.
Hey, a lot of people have your back, apparently.
Yeah,
hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Joey Weingartner joining us here on the Capital Men's Basketball Podcast. For more, go to athletics.capital.edu. For Capital Athletics, I'm Charlie Danis. We'll see you next time.